Hi, my name is Valerie Martin, and this week our assignment was to assess the community in which our client lived. A little bit about the Knox County area. As of July 2017, there were 461,860 people living in Knoxville. Approximately 51% were females and 48% were males. 5.8% ages 5 and under. 21.2% ages 18 and under, and 15.5% ages 65 and older, according to the Census Bureau. There are 203,650 housing units in the Knox County area. Owner-occupied housing was 61.4%, with a median value of $169,400. Median gross rent was $839 a month, and median household income was $52,458. 13.9% of Knox County occupants are considered to be at poverty level. Educational-wise, high school graduates or higher over the age of 25 was 90.9%. People that held bachelor degrees over the age of 25, 36.5%, and language other than English spoken in the home was 6.3%. With my client, all of the homes in his neighborhood were in very good condition or in like new condition, pretty much because no homes were built earlier than 2007 when the subdivision was created. All houses in the neighborhood were kept up very nicely due to homeowner association fees. The yards are all done for them. Most of the buildings outside of the subdivision, but in the neighborhood, were occupied and nice, except for the local mall, which was nearly abandoned. All the commercial properties appeared to have handicap access, either on the main floor or ramps to entrance doors. The mall that is abandoned or nearly abandoned is very ran down. There is a variety of people that do still go there, especially the elderly people that like to do the mall walking. They use that space for exercise, especially this cold weather. There's a few restaurants inside that facility and a few stores. As far as other public spaces, there's a local zoo within 5 miles of the neighborhood. There's a lot of different flowers, trees, shrubs, animals at that location, several food options, and the grounds appear to be nicely kept. There's a lot of parks in Knoxville, but it's in close proximity to my client. There is one medium-sized park and one large park within a 10-mile radius of his home. The medium-sized park is well maintained with no trash noted. There were several seating areas as well as a gazebo with picnic tables underneath. During the spring and summer months, they have a weekly farmers market. They have food vendors there. There's shrubs lining the park. There's not currently any flowers because it's winter. The larger park is not as well maintained. There was trash in several areas on the ground. There was multiple seating areas that were broken. There's no food vendors on the premises, but there are food options available within walking distance. There was not really any flowers or shrubs, but several large trees and a stream running through the park. It was really cold outside, so there was nobody at either park when I was there, but during the warm months, there's a lot of families, different races and cultures that occupy the space. There's no sports facilities at those parks. However, there's a local school that has an outside walking track and a basketball court accessible to the public. As far as culture and entertainment, there's 2 movie theaters within 5 miles of the neighborhood my client lives in. There's also a public library and a museum of art within 10 miles. They're all centrally located. However, public transportation isn't available from my client's home, but there is some transportation close. There's many different cultures and age groups represented throughout those areas. There's no sidewalks in the neighborhood where my client lives. There's a lot of pretty trees that line the street. The streets are clean. There's not much litter. I didn't see any trash cans or outdoor seating along the roads. Most of the storefronts appeared to have been there some time. They're a little bit aged and ran down looking. Most people are driving vehicles on the streets and they're not walking, just predominantly because it's cold, and then also there's no sidewalks in this area in Knoxville. The traffic was more congested between the hours of 7 and 9 a.m. and 4 and 6 p.m., pretty much rush hour times when people are going to work and getting off work. It's not very well lit outside of the neighborhood, with the exception of near the storefronts. There is a local mall that I've been talking about as far as commercial activity that is near vacant. There's several storefronts close to that area, mostly franchise businesses. They appear to be busy. There's 3 grocery stores. 2 of them have a pharmacy inside. There's a few clothing stores. There's an automotive store, and there's quite a few restaurants around this area. Signage in the area, there's a lot of business signs in English. I didn't really see any in any other language. There is a sign that has arrows towards the library, also a sign with arrows towards the zoo, and signs to the interstate, but that was pretty much it. There's no real factories within 20 miles of my client's home. Most of the revenue in the area came from stores and restaurants. Doesn't appear to be any added pollution from industry in this area. As far as land use, there's not much open space right near my client's home, with the exception of a couple small local farms in the area. Residential areas are mostly sectioned off into subdivisions around here, and the commercial properties are in a different area. There's also one railroad track at the edge of the community, but it doesn't cut through. All the roads and bridges in this area, in this part of Knoxville, are well maintained. All the areas in the community appear equally well maintained, with the exception of the mall. All areas appear to have electricity, water, phone, sewage, etc. Fiber optics are available in my client's community, but I'm not sure about everywhere in the community. As far as public transportation, the bus system in Knoxville, it's the Knoxville Area Transit, also known as CAT, services over 80% of Knoxville area, has about 1,500 bus stops. It doesn't provide transportation near my client's neighborhood, but it is available in a lot of the community of Knoxville. The buses always appear crowded. They do not appear as they are energy efficient. A one ride pass is $1.50, but there's other options like a 7-day pass and a 30-day pass. Also, there's discounts offered to students, people over the age of 65, and also disabled people. Traffic in the community is generally busy during rush hour, like I said earlier, 7 to 9 a.m., 4 to 6 p.m. There's a lot of different types of vehicles that are on Interstate 40 and 640. A lot of commercial vehicles, cars, trucks, SUVs. There's semi-trucks. Didn't really see any bicycles or motorcycles. There's no bike lanes or bike racks at any of the places I went to. And gridlock usually only occurs during rush hour, but no other time. Environmental quality. So we have 93 parks in the Knoxville area, which is about 2,200 acres of city parkland. There are 2 parks in the local community within 10 miles. There doesn't appear to be any smog or haze, no smells or anything like that. The water in the stream was clear. However, the pond was very dirty and hazy looking. There was some trash floating in the water. Race and ethnicity. According to the Census Bureau, 86.1% of people in the Knox County area are Caucasian. 8.9% are Black or African American. 4.3% are Hispanic or Latino. 2.3% are Asian. And 2.2% are 2 or more races. Most people in my client's neighborhood were Caucasian. However, there are some predominantly African American neighborhoods nearby, more towards East Knoxville. Faith communities. 81% of people in the Knox County area are Christian. There's 11% that are non-religious or don't have a denomination. 3% are non-Christian faiths. That's like Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, and 1% other faiths. So atheist, agnostics, unaffiliated. Health services. We have 6 area hospitals in Knoxville. University of Tennessee Medical Center, Tenova, Park West, that's just a few of them. However, none of them are really close to my client's neighborhood, but there are multiple doctor's offices and clinics that are easily accessible within a 10-mile radius of where he lives. Community and public services. There are several mental health facilities in the area. None of them are like long-term health services, but Cherokee Health, Peninsula, and Helen Ross McNabb all offer mental health service. There are a lot of faith-based food banks in the city, the largest being Fish Hospitality, with 4 locations in Knoxville, and they provide food to over 8,000 families a month. Others include Love Kitchen, Ladies of Charity, and Acosta Food Services. There's also several homeless shelters in Knoxville, including Knox Area Rescue Ministries, Tennessee Valley Coalition for the Homeless, and the YWCA of Knoxville, and that one specifically deals with women of domestic violence. The Knox County Welfare Department is in downtown Knoxville off Paper Mill, and these nonprofit organizations are kind of spread through the greater Knoxville area, and they are pretty accessible with public transportation. Safety. The closest fire station to my client's home is 2 miles away, and the closest police station is 5 miles away, but there is an emergency rescue squad that's just less than a mile from his home. They all look in good repair. The community is well lit around the subdivision because they have private street lamps. Outside of the subdivision, not so much. It's relatively dark unless you go over to the areas where there is commercial buildings. Public schools, all the schools that I visited in the surrounding area appeared well maintained. I didn't see any that looked poorly maintained. Higher education, there are a lot of colleges in our area that offer 2- and 4-year degrees. So University of Tennessee, Pellissippi State Community College, Lincoln Memorial University, that's just a few of them. Also, there are several technical colleges, ITT Tech, Fountainhead College of Technology. They seem to be open to the community. There's signs everywhere. I know Pellissippi currently has an adult education program where it's free to go if you're a certain age. So they seem very accessible to people in our area. Political activity, I didn't see any visible political signs or anything, but it's not election season. When it is election season, there are tons around this area. Community organizations, there are a lot of organizations in Knoxville. The American Legion Group is one of them, the Elks Lodge, Keep Knoxville Beautiful organization. The Masons also have a chapter here. Media, we have 2 TV stations, WBIR and WATE. We also have the Knoxville News Sentinel newspaper, and there's multiple radio stations like Star 102.1, B97.5, and several internet sites that are dedicated to media in Knoxville. And the differences among the neighborhoods and areas in the community, a lot like any other city in the United States, Knoxville has areas that are more ran down. There's specific areas over in East Knoxville that are pretty rough. In these locations, there are less storefronts. There's more abandoned buildings. The houses are in more poor condition. Crime rates seem to be higher in those areas if you listen to the news. But overall, my overall impression of the community that my client lives in is a really nice upper middle class area. There's a lot of services available in the metropolitan area. There's very adequate access to education, to healthcare, to all the recreational activities, the arts, the sciences. However, some areas in Knoxville do appear more impoverished than others. Thank you very much for your time, and here is my list of references.